Welcome to this video. My name is Louis R. Velasquez. I created Calcite Sun Oil. It's I call it CSO for short. It's the recreation of Rembrandt's paint binder. You can see my books on Amazon.com. You can see my free videos on YouTube. I also created milk oil paint, and I also created CSO tempera. In this video, I'm going to show you the steps I took to paint this small picture. I think the entire thing from beginning to end took about 3 hours at the most. It's underpainted with milk oil paint, allowed to dry, and then painted with Calcite Sun Oil CSO oil paints. The first step in working with milk oil paint is you have the panel, which has no gesso on it, it's raw wood, and we're going to apply a liberal coat of fat-free milk. You cannot use whole milk, you cannot use reduced fat milk, and you cannot use milk that's in a can because it has palm oil, and none of those will dry. But fat-free milk, fresh, will dry, and you add a complete soaking, 1 or 2 coats. The next step is to mix the fat-free milk, liquid, and the dry non-fat milk. And you mix them together to make a thick mixture, liquid enough to be brushed on, and you apply that mixture to the wood that's already been soaked with non-fat milk, and you've allowed that one coating to dry hard, and then you apply the milk gel. It's called a milk gel. Now, to get the drawing down, I put charcoal on the back of the photograph, and you can see here I did the transfer using a ballpoint pen on top of the drawing, and now that the transferred pencil drawing is there, now I'm doing the ink. So now the transfer drawing that is made from the photo has been gone over with the ink. And this ensures that you get the accurate face. Now from here on, we're going to be creative, and we're going to use the colors we want and the paint texture that we want. And we're going to be very creative on this particular drawing. What I like to do when I do a portrait of a woman is I like to ask them, what colors do they like? And then I say, what colors do you do not like? And then I ask them, what's your favorite flower? And they have their choices, and I then can create the colors I need and the flowers I need and make it a happy portrait for them. Okay, so I just did the charcoal drawing from total memory, imagination. So that'll be the next step. I'm going to start painting in with milk oil paint. Don't forget, milk oil paint is the paint that I created several years ago. You can see my videos on YouTube that talk about milk oil paint. I've mixed the dry non-fat milk with the wet non-fat milk. You see how thick it is. It's the same thickness as the tube oil paint. And once you get that, you mix it in with your tube oil paints, and you get this. You don't lose any of the intensity of your colors. Once you've created your milk oil paint, meaning a mixture of tube oil paint with the milk gel, now you can add liquid milk and you can paint with thin glazes. So I'm going to give this an imprimatura, which is a complete covering of the panel. Now, milk oil paint is not to be used on canvas, just like neither should egg tempera. You should use a solid wood panel for milk oil paint. So I've almost got the complete imprimatura painted down. This thin paint will dry in less than 5 minutes. Its main purpose for milk oil paint, although you can complete a painting with it and then varnish it, is to act as a fast drying underpaint or an imprimatura. I'm going to continue to work on this, establishing some darks. They'll be intermediate darks, but darks. And her hair is black, so I'll go ahead and paint that in now. Well, all of us artists paint with our fingers, so I'm going to just do some blending. It's only been a couple of minutes, and the glazes here, they're dry. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish this portrait in traditional Calcite Sun Oil oil paint. I'm not going to use any more of the milk oil paint. And once you start painting with traditional oil paints, you cannot overlay milk oil paint on top. So in about 15-20 minutes, I'm going to apply a single coat of oil. Now, in order so that the oil does not drip, I'm going to create what's called aguado. You will mix oil with calcium carbonate to a very soupy condition. I mixed calcium carbonate powder. This is the ingredient found in Rembrandt's paint, also in Velasquez's and Titian and Tintoretto. I mixed that with the oil into a very soupy mixture. This is called aguado. And I'm going to use this as the oil out over the milk oil painting. The aguado is not an emulsion. It is a soupy mixture of calcium carbonate, powder, and the fast drying superior oil. So what you're going to do is you're going to rub it all over the panel, all over the picture. You can test to see if you got it right by looking at the lighting. Where it's shiny, it's applied, and where it's dry, it's not applied yet. I've finished applying the oil out. The purpose of the oil out is to act as a lubricant and to make sure that the paint layers you're now going to paint on top will adhere. I'm going to make the Calcite Sun Oil. Roughly, and you don't have to measure, it's 3 parts of chalk, calcium carbonate chalk, and 1 part of your oil. You can find my books on Amazon that will give you all the details on using Calcite Sun Oil. and the emulsions. The Calcite Sun Oil has to be firm. This is not firm. This is firm. I have a free video on YouTube. Well, just look up CSO VELASQUEZ and you'll see how to make this. There's a 12-minute real live film that shows you how to do this. You can see the calcium. The CSO is a gray color, and we're going to mix 50% with each of the primary colors and browns and white. It doesn't change the intensity of the colors. So I have my panel oil. I did the oil out with aguado, which is that soupy mixture of calcium carbonate powder and the oil. And I rubbed it down to get rid of all of the excess oil, aguado that's on the surface. I have mixed my palette with Calcite Sun Oil, which is called CSO for short. It's been shown scientifically it's the medium binder that Rembrandt used, as well as other masters. We mixed 50-50. CSO with the oil paints. I also added a black, and we're ready to begin to paint. I may not film the painting. So I painted a rainbow around the head of the portrait. Now I'll work on other parts. Well, it's finished, and it only took about an hour or so of overlaying colorful colors on top of the brown colored monotone, the one color that I use over the ink drawing